It's been 4 weeks since I last heard her voice. 12 days since I stopped sending the money. And just 3 hours since I checked her Instagram again, only to remember she'd blocked me. My name is Rhea Morgan, and until recently, I thought love was supposed to hurt a little. Not bleed you dry, not silence you slowly. Just hurt a little. Like good art or a sad song. Eliza used to say that. The best kind of love lingers like a bruise. But I think I've become a collection of bruises pretending to be a woman. There are days when I forget she's gone. I still reach for my phone at midnight, expecting a made a new piece today, text with a blurry photo of her unfinished canvas. I still wonder if she ate, if she's cold, if the ceiling still leaks in her tiny studio apartment. It's muscle memory now, caring for her. Even though she made it clear she doesn't want it anymore. She acted like I owed her nothing, but I gave her everything. Time, energy, hope. And $1,400 a month, like a quiet ritual. Rent, bills, paints, and coffee she couldn't afford. Every cent was tied to a promise that she'd make it one day, and I'd be proud I stood by her. Even when she stopped saying thank you. Sometimes, I dream about her coming back, not with love, but with guilt in her eyes. She stands in my kitchen, that awful denim jacket still wrapped around her like armor, and she finally says it. Rhea, I used you. And I'm sorry. But I always wake up before she says the sorry part. The truth is, I don't know what hurts more. That she left. Or that she made me believe she never needed me in the first place. I keep rereading our last messages. Me, you okay? Haven't heard from you since Monday. Me, again, rent sent. Same amount. Just let me know you got it. Me, days later, are we done? No reply. No, thank you. No fight. Not even the dignity of a goodbye. Just silence. Like I was a transaction that finally expired. I've spent the last few nights pacing my apartment with a glass of wine that never gets finished. I start remembering, then over-remembering. I go through our photos, then delete them, then search my recently deleted folder and restore them. I'm stuck somewhere between missing her and mourning who I was when she loved me back. If she ever did. People tell me I need to heal. That I should be glad she's gone. That I was too generous, too blind, too patient. But what they don't see is this. Healing feels like betrayal, too. Because moving on means accepting she never cared as much as I did. And I'm not sure I'm ready to live in a world where that's true. Tonight, I opened the drawer where I keep her old notes. She once left me a torn sketch paper with a charcoal heart and a single line beneath it. You are the reason I still believe in soft things. It's funny how love can sound so eternal when you're writing it with borrowed pens and someone else's faith. I folded it back and shut the drawer. Not because I'm done with her, but because some memories feel heavier when touched. And I'm already drowning. I didn't set out to become her sponsor. It just happened. The first time I sent her money, she was crying. Not performative tears. Just a soft, quiet kind of breaking that only someone in love would interpret as sacred. Her landlord had threatened to evict her. I remember the way her voice trembled when she said, "It's not that I'm lazy. It's just, my art hasn't sold this month." Again. So I sent her $1,400. She told me she'd pay it back. She never did. But I told myself I didn't care. Because back then, I still believed in her. In us. I thought supporting her was love. I didn't realize I was paying to keep her close. One payment turned into 2. Then 4. Then 12. I watched a full year pass through PayPal transfers and late-night texts saying, "Thank you, babe. I swear I'll make it someday." And every month, the thank yous got shorter. Colder. Eventually, they stopped altogether. But the requests never did. She'd say things like, "My paints are running low." Or, "If I don't submit to this gallery, I'll miss my chance." Or worse, "You believe in me, right?" And God help me, I did. Not just in her career. I believed in the way she kissed me when no one was watching. In the late-night calls where she said I was the safest place she'd ever known. In the way her voice softened when she said my name in the dark. Rhea. She made it sound like I was more than just a person. Like I was her peace. And maybe I was. But peace isn't supposed to be this expensive. I didn't realize I was bleeding until I was nearly empty. Friends began noticing first. My rent was always late. I skipped dinners out, turned down trips. When I tried to explain it, they'd tilt their heads with pity. She's not your responsibility. But love never felt like a responsibility. It felt like a vow, and I'd already taken it in silence. Now, I sit in a coffee shop I used to bring her to, the one with the crooked table near the window. She loved that spot. Said the sunlight made her feel like she belonged in the world. Funny how she could always find belonging, but never accountability. I sip my drink slowly, watching the foam melt into the corners of the cup. I keep looking at the door, like some part of me still expects her to walk in, to smile with that half-laugh and say, "I forgot what we were fighting about." But we weren't fighting. She just left, quietly, like I'd run out of use. There's a notebook in my bag with her name written 100 times in the margins. I don't know why I still carry it. Maybe because it reminds me of the version of her I fell in love with. The version who kissed my forehead and called it home. The one who used to draw me, sketching my profile while I cooked. I miss her like she died. But she's still out there. Living. Breathing. Laughing. Possibly using someone else's money now. I try to feel angry. But all I feel is tired. Last night, I calculated it. $1,400 x 12 equals $16,800. That was last year alone. I didn't even include the years before. Or the groceries. Or the bills I covered when her electricity got cut off. I added it all up. And then I laughed. Because it's so much easier to see manipulation in math. But love? Love doesn't care about math. Love just empties you. And hopes someone notices you're not whole anymore. I want to heal. I swear I do. But how do you walk away from someone you built your days around? How do you unlove someone you practically kept alive? I keep telling myself that I deserve more. But sometimes, in the quiet, I just wish she'd say my name again. Not because I want her back, but because I want to know I mattered. Even if it was just a little, I didn't want to make it public. I didn't want to be the girl airing her pain like laundry in the wind. But silence was starting to rot me from the inside out. So I told one person. Just one. Her name was Danielle, a mutual friend. Someone Eliza had introduced me to at a gallery opening years ago. Danielle had always seemed neutral, like Switzerland in our chaos. When Eliza and I fought, she'd say things like, "You're both intense in different ways." But now, I needed more than neutrality. I needed someone to confirm I hadn't imagined it all. We met at a dim bar off Pine Street. The kind of place where the music is too loud to talk unless you really want to be heard. Danielle hugged me awkwardly, like she wasn't sure whose side she was on yet. And that's when I knew something had shifted. "I haven't seen Eliza in a while," she said, avoiding eye contact. "She's been busy, I think." I almost laughed. Busy doing what? Spending someone else's money? Or rewriting the ending of a love story I was still trapped inside? I tried to ease into it. Started with a joke. "You know I supported her for years, right? Like, financially." Danielle's face tightened. "Yeah, she mentioned that." "She mentioned it?" I repeated, surprised. She sipped her drink too fast. "She said you were generous." There was a beat. Then another. I waited. Hoped. But she didn't say more. So I asked the question I'd been avoiding for weeks. "Did she tell you why she blocked me?" Danielle looked away. "Honestly, Ria, I don't want to get involved." And just like that, I felt the shift. Like a door closing slowly but deliberately. Later that night, I did what I promised myself I wouldn't do. I texted another mutual friend, Lily. Lily was always closer to Eliza than to me, but we'd shared game nights, dinners, camping trips. She had once cried on my couch over a breakup. I held her through it like a sister. So I asked her gently, "Did Eliza say anything about me? About us?" 3 dots appeared. Then stopped. Then reappeared. Finally, her reply came. "She just said you were obsessed. That she tried to leave months ago, but you made her feel guilty." I stared at the screen. It felt like someone had yanked the floor out from under me. Obsessed? I wanted to scream. To list every late-night food run, every bill, every emotional rescue. But I didn't. I just put the phone down, turned off the lights, and curled into myself. Because I finally understood what was happening. Eliza wasn't just gone. She was making sure no one missed me. She's smart like that. She knows how to wear victimhood like a velvet coat. I once saw her cry at a gallery opening because a critic wrote, "Her work lacks vulnerability." She turned it into a monologue about misunderstood artists, and people clapped. Even I clapped. She knows how to twist a story until the truth forgets its own shape. I started scrolling through her old art account, the one she'd forgotten to block me from. And there it was. A post from a few weeks ago. A photo of her new painting captioned, "Healing is knowing when someone's love starts to feel like control." And in the comments, a girl named Sasha. Multiple hearts. "You deserve so much better." Flirty emojis. My hands went cold. Sasha wasn't new. She'd been liking Eliza's posts for months. Even while Eliza and I were still together. Even while I was sending her money. Even while I was still tucking her in over FaceTime with whispered promises. I closed the app, opened my notes, and wrote the words before I could stop myself. She acted like I owed her nothing. But she took everything I had to give. And when she was done, she left me to carry the shame she should have worn. I want to believe that healing is around the corner. That soon this will all feel distant, like a memory I survived. But right now, healing feels like being erased, while the one who broke you gets to be the one everyone believes. And the hardest part? I still miss her. Even now. Even after this. They say when people leave, they leave all at once. But Eliza didn't. She disappeared in fragments. Piece by piece. Smile by smile. Like sand slipping through my fingers while I still thought I was holding the shore. The last year of our relationship looked almost the same as the years before. We still kissed in grocery store aisles. Still stayed up late watching reruns of the same indie films. Still had our playlist, the one we started the first time she painted me. But something small had shifted. And at first, I didn't notice. It started with the pauses. Not the kind that make space for words, but the kind that swallow them whole. Like when I told her I loved her one night in October, and she smiled, but didn't say it back until I asked, "Did you hear me?" She said, "Of course. I just didn't want to ruin the silence." That's the thing about gaslighting. It's never violent at first. It's poetic. I used to visit her studio 3 times a week. Then once a week. Then only when she invited me. She said she needed more space to protect her process. And I believed her. Because I wanted to. Because when someone tells you they love you, you don't question the rust forming underneath. You just paint over it and pretend it's gold. One night, I brought her dinner. She didn't answer the door for 10 minutes. When she finally opened it, her face was flushed, hair messy, eyes glazed. "Were you painting?" I asked. She nodded too quickly. But I didn't smell paint. I smelled wine. And something else. Something I couldn't name. Later, I would realize what it was. Perfume. Not mine. The sex changed too. Less eye contact. More silence after. No holding, no breath shared, no stay a little longer. She started facing away from me in bed. When I asked if something was wrong, she said I was overthinking. Then she kissed my forehead like I was a child who didn't understand the world. I kept telling myself it was stress. The art shows, the grant she'd been rejected from, the pressure she felt being supported by me. She started using that word, supported, like it was a leash. Once, after I sent her the monthly transfer, she texted, "This makes me feel powerless." I replied, "Then let me stop." And she answered, "No, I just wish I didn't need it. But now I see it." She didn't want to stop. She just wanted to resent me for saying yes. In February, we stopped going on dates. She said restaurants felt fake. So we stayed in. Or rather, I stayed in while she said she was at a networking mixer or meeting with collectors. Once, I asked if I could come. She paused. Then said, "You wouldn't enjoy it." I didn't fight her. Because I thought letting her have her world was what healthy love looked like. But in hindsight, I wasn't loving her. I was auditioning for her approval every day. The last time she kissed me like she meant it, it was raining. We were standing outside her apartment, and I said, do you still love me the way you used to? She didn't answer. She just kissed me, long, slow, almost desperate. And for a second, I believed the lie. Looking back now, I realized she had already left me. She just hadn't told me yet. She was waiting until she found a new place to land. And when she did, she vanished completely. No text. No call. No, I'm sorry. Just silence. There's a kind of betrayal that doesn't scream. It just echoes. Everywhere. I hear it in the playlists we made. In the mug she left behind. In the drawer where her favorite hoodie still lives because I don't have the strength to throw it out. Some days I wake up reaching for her. And then I remember, she was already gone long before she actually left. And the worst part? She let me believe it was my fault. There's this daydream I keep having. It's always the same. Eliza shows up at my apartment, unannounced, like she used to. She's wearing that awful denim jacket, the one she practically lived in. She looks a little tired. Her eyes are heavy. Not guilty. Just inconvenienced. In the fantasy, she sits on my couch like she still belongs there. Like nothing ever broke. And I hand her a sheet of paper. Not a poem. Not a letter. An invoice. I read the numbers aloud, slowly. 14 months of rent, $19,600 groceries, art supplies, Uber rides. $4,300 gallery submission fees I covered, $1,800 last minute. Cash transfers when her account was overdrawn, $3,200 time. Presents. Love. Emotional labor, priceless, subtotal, $28,900. She blinks. Says, you kept track. And in the fantasy, I say, no. But I remembered every time you forgot to say thank you. Of course, in reality, I've never said any of that. In reality, I still check her old art page at 2 a.m., even though I know she hasn't posted in weeks. In reality, I still rehearse conversations with her that I'll never have. Healing isn't a straight line. It's a circle. And I keep running laps inside the memory of someone who never came back for me. Today, I tried to write her a letter. Not one for mailing, just for me. But every time I started, it turned into a negotiation with a ghost. How do you write to someone who emptied you and walked away with clean hands? I wrote one sentence, then stared at it for an hour. You didn't love me, you loved how I loved you. And I hated how true it felt. Like I'd cracked something open I wasn't ready to face. Some days, I want her to say sorry. To show up with flowers and a real apology. To weep. To confess. To beg. But other days, I want her to suffer. To feel the aching loneliness that lives in my chest. To scroll through my photos and feel regret like fire in her lungs. And then there are days like today, where I just want to forget the sound of her voice. But I can't. Because it's everywhere. In my kitchen. In my playlist. In the way I still instinctively check my Venmo balance on the first of every month. I told my therapist, I want closure. She asked me what that looks like. And I said, her telling the truth. She nodded gently. And then she asked the question I wasn't prepared for. If she gave you every dollar back, every apology, every explanation, would it heal you? I went quiet. Because the answer wasn't yes. The truth is, I don't want the money. I want to matter. I want to believe that everything I gave wasn't just convenient for her. That I wasn't just a placeholder until someone better, or richer, came along. And I want to know that the version of her I loved wasn't just an act. That somewhere beneath the silence and the spin, she misses me too. Even if she'll never say it, I deleted our messages. Then restored them. Then deleted them again. I blocked her number. Then unblocked it, just in case. I began to write a memoir. Titled it, She Acted Like I Owed Her Nothing. Healing felt like betrayal. Because it meant accepting she never cared the way I did. Months later, she texted me, hey, hope you're okay. I miss our talks. I didn't reply, but I spiraled. Again. Later, I learned from someone else. She and her new girlfriend broke up. Was the message love? Or loneliness? A mutual acquaintance said Eliza once called me a sponsor, not a partner. It knocked the breath out of me. Worse, I found out she had been selling paintings all along. Her financial struggle wasn't real. I had been her safety net. Her backup plan. Her ATM. I wrote her a real letter. One final message. You didn't break me. You just made me rewrite who I was without you. I sent it. No reply. And the silence? It finally felt like peace. A year later, I'm still healing. But I'm not who I was. I speak at women's workshops now. Help others spot emotional manipulation. I tattooed the words "nothing owed" on my ribcage, over the spot that once ached every time I remembered her. I don't need her to say sorry anymore. Because I finally understand, love doesn't come with an invoice. But healing starts with knowing when to stop paying. And I have.